Aviation photography, planes and cameras, the perfect combination.
Marshall 610, 2 pass
Affirmative 610, I'm heading 070.
Yes, aviation and photography go so well together. And do I know somebody who's been into planes and cameras all these years? Yes, it's Paul, who you've seen on the channel before. Paul, you've been into planes for years. Tell us about it.
Well, my dad was in the RAF.
Ah, that's where it all
So
started.
he had a strong interest in aviation, so naturally it rubbed off.
Yeah.
Amongst the first things I used to read were his copies of RF Flying Review magazine.
Okay, and you noticed the pictures.
Well, yeah. I can't say I understood exactly what I was reading, but once I could read, and I still have them actually, so quite a collection of them.
Yeah. And so what camera did he use?
It was this
Oh, you've got it.
Coronet Cub.
Look at that.
It's simple to the extreme. Point, shoot, don't do anything, rely on the black and white film coping.
Oh, right. So you couldn't set anything.
No.
But that really is what you call point and press, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. Because we used to go to the Battle of Britain display at RAF Cosford in September, and used to take the pictures with that, and I used to like to look at them.
Okay.
So naturally.
So that was your dad's camera?
Yeah.
So what was your first camera then?
My first camera was a Helena Paulette.
Yeah.
Which I bought in 1964.
Okay.
We had our first car then, so we didn't have to go on buses and trains to the air shows like we used to. And I'd started work, so one of the first things I bought was a Helena Paulette, which was 35mm.
And you got to photographing planes for the first time. What is it about planes, about aviation, that really sort of fires you up with photography?
Well, they're exciting, and the beautiful shapes. I don't really know much more to say. It's just exciting. Just enjoy it so much.
Yeah, and I mean it's obviously a technical challenge. You know, you're often photographing against the light. Sometimes you're photographing against the sun. You want to get detail in the planes. They're travelling, extremely fast.
I couldn't take them flying, of course, with the Helena Paulette. So we started processing our own films and printing them because we weren't happy with what the chemists were turning out.
Yeah.
So I needed a better camera, so I lashed out on a Nikon zoom.
Okay, what was that? What sort of zoom were we talking? When are we talking here? What sort of year?
65.
65.
I only had the Helena Paulette for about a year, and I realised. It was a fixed 43 to 86 Nikon. Now it wasn't the first medium zoom for a still camera.
Yeah.
That was the Voigtlander zoomer. But the zoomer was big, heavy and not very good.
A Voigtlander, that's not very good.
Well, of course it was the first attempt. Because it wasn't the first Nikon zoom. Nikon brought the telephoto zooms out first. And they followed it with this one. But it was a massive seller for Nikon.
Okay.
It was extremely popular. And the few faults it had, which was mainly distortion, they brought a Mark II version out later, and it cured it.
Okay.
But the pictures were much better, because it was still only up to 86mm.
Yeah.
So when they announced the Nikon, and this is it.
Are we talking, by the way, we're talking pre-jet then, or were you on jet engines then?
Oh yeah, jets, yeah. Cosford in the early days, it was a showcase for the early jets, Sea Vixens, Scimitars, Canberra. I remember seeing an Avro Lincoln, which was the last version of the Lancaster basically, flying in formation with the Canberra, which was new at the time. And so it was exciting for the early jets.
Okay, yeah. So what have you got there?
This is my first Nikon. Now, that isn't my lens.
Yeah.
I moved up to a Nikon EL later, and my dad had this, and he put a 35mm Vivitar lens on it. But yeah, this was my first proper camera in a way.
Yeah. And what lens did you have on that?
Well, I bought it with the 50 to start, and I ended up with two bodies, 28, 50, 200, converter, and then I added a Sheikah Electro to it, which was a rangefinder and was the world's first electronic
That was
camera.
the first electronic camera,
which was a
wasn't it?
fabulous camera.
Was it?
It was.
Wish you'd still got that one.
Well, actually, I did miss it when I sold it, and I did buy another one, but I haven't got it now.
Right. What did you sell it to buy?
I think it was an FE.
A Nikon.
Yeah.
So hang on a minute. There's a Nikon thing going after the Nikon, Matt, isn't there? So just go
Yeah.
through. What Nikons have you owned?
Oh, okay. Nikons EL, EM, FM, FM2, FM3, 501, 301, 601, 801, 801S, F6. I think I've had 50 cameras.
Can I just say at this point, if Nikon are watching, I think Paul deserves a long service award. You can see why. There is another video where he tells me he's got a new camera, and I couldn't believe it was a Nikon. If you want to see that, by the way, I'll put a link at the end of this film.
Well, of course, my wife got into photography, and she bought a large. She really wanted to do it properly, and she bought a large Nikon outfit with actually we had some of the rarest Nikon lenses you could get. When the 28 1.4, the very first one came out, I had one. She had the 70 to 180 macro zoom,
Wow.
which is very valuable now.
Yeah, it is.
My standard lens was the 1.2. So between us, we
Got
bought a
everything
nice
covered.
range of lenses.
Okay. So, aviation photography. I mean, obviously you've been doing it a very long. Any tips? What would you say to people who fancy going and getting started with?
Well, to be honest, it's so much easier nowadays. It's practically just a fact of point and shoot to get a picture of a plane. But it's the lighting as much as anything. It's nice on a bright blue day, but you can get much better pictures with with lighting that isn't quite so
stormy skies, end of the day, or early morning lights. Sometimes planes that even aren't flying. They're tethered down, but you get a beautiful mist and morning.
That's it. Sunsets over the planes.
Yeah, okay.
Over the years.
But don't just think about going to the display and just doing them in the air.
No.
Think about going to see planes.
Yeah, over the years we've been to an enormous amount of airfields and museums, and
the buzz is still there even now.
Oh, yeah. Of course, we both do. We live close to Hampton Green Airport.
Yeah.
The wife and I were there last week, trying just getting a few pictures in the very early morning.
Yeah.
And it's to get those certain effects.
Okay, Hackney Green Airport. There's also a film of Paul and I trying some cameras out at Hackney Green Airport.
That's right.
And one particular moment where he'd taken some stunning pictures and let me have a go on his new camera, and I wiped the card. If you want to see that video, I'll leave it at the end as well.
These things happen.
Particularly when somebody else has got your camera.
That's it.
And that's a camera that Sony RX10 Mark IV.
It's an amazing camera
that you use for aviation now. Even though it's a small sensor, it's that 600mm lens of 2.8.
I still use my Fujis now. I still do like to take. Sometimes I just go with one body, one lens, just to try and get something different.
Yeah.
But it's nice with the Sony because it covers such a range. It's there if you need it, isn't it?
Okay. Well, I think it's all about pictures, isn't it? Photography. It's all about looking at pictures. So let's have a look at some of your pictures. Will you talk us through them?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. So here's Paul's first picture, and all the pictures you're going to see in this little gallery are all Paul's aviation pictures, all taken by him. Paul, what was this taken on?
This was a Nikon D700.
Okay.
If I remember rightly, 200 with a 2x converter.
Does that be a 200 2.8?
No, thinking about it, it was the 70 to 200 f4.
Ah, right.
With a 2x converter.
Okay. I want a very different picture here, and this is what I was talking about before, light being everything in aviation photography to me. I mean, it doesn't have to be stuff flying past at 500 miles an hour. That's a beautiful picture, and says so much, and it's just about the light and the way that you've got that blue sky there and that lovely cold light. Tell us about this picture.
Well, that was late afternoon at the RF 100th anniversary air show at Cosford. As a Fuji picture, XH1, with the 16 to 55 2.8 zoom.
Fuji?
Fuji, yeah, slightly underexposed to get the nice lighting.
Yeah, so that's towards the end of the day, is it?
Yes, yeah, about tea time.
Yeah, and you can see that low light just, really glinting on that raw metal there. That's just a beautiful picture. And we go on to a very different picture. What have we got here? Jaguar?
The Jaguar, yeah. Taxiing around Cosford again, Nikon D700.
And it turns around and look, what's happening here?
It's a different aircraft, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's the same one.
It's a Jaguar.
It's taken at the same time.
But it was, they'd cut the grass around the runway and it sort of shot around.
And again, it's just looking for the odd picture, the different picture rather than the odd picture. And obviously they cut the grass and they fired those engines up and grass cuttings went everywhere.
Yeah.
And talking about different pictures, here's a very different picture. What's going on here with this?
Well, this was a B1, Cosford again. As everybody probably knows, you don't often see a B1. But just before it arrived, it decided it was going to rain. And
so it was nice weather before that?
Yeah, it was. And it rained very heavy just as it passed over. Everybody else disappeared in the car, but I was determined to get something. And once again, I think this is a D800 picture. And I just chanced it.
Yeah, and it's a nice picture. It's a very different picture,
Yeah.
and I like it, and that's how it was on the day, and that's how you remember it.
That's it, yeah.
But of course, it's not just air shows. I mean, you can go to airports and do photography. You'll often see them. You'll see them on YouTube at the end of runways, in streets, or on viewing platforms. Here is the biggest commercial plane in the world.
Mm-hmm. That's right, yeah.
This is the A380?
380, yeah. Early days of the 380. This was a zoom, if I remember rightly, it was 120mm I was using at the time.
And you look like you zoomed in a bit too much there because
yeah.
You weren't expecting it to be quite that big.
No, it did come as a bit of a surprise. Yeah.
And what have we got here? This is an engine just starting up, or
no? It's a Mitchell landing at Slape Airfield.
Oh, so that's smokes off the.
And there's rain as well.
Oh, so it's a little bit of rain and a little bit of.
It was actually getting quite dark towards late afternoon.
So what's this on? 2002. You do this?
Yeah, that's a good question. That would be Nikon F6. And the 80 to 400 Nikon.
Oh, F6, so this is on film?
Yeah.
What's
it's
film
Velvia
stock?
50.
Oh, Fuji Velvia 50.
Yeah.
Losing the light and he's still on 50.
I used to use Velvia 50 for everything if possible.
Of course, you can't talk about aviation photography in Great Britain without talking about the Royal Air Force Red Arrows. Where was this taken?
That was the Air Tattoo at Fairford. And that's the D800.
D800, and you've used your slow shutter speed there,
yes,
because there seems to be two planes on that.
There is.
There's another plane behind.
Tucked right behind it.
Oh right. Oh, and what have we got going on here?
Just taxing out,
okay,
ready
so
to
that's
start
just
the display.
Aviation fuel,
mist.
And again, it's that different picture, isn't it? Giving that haze from the aviation fuel. You can almost smell it on that picture, can't you?
Yeah.
But of course, display pictures. Yeah, this is a good one. I like that.
Yeah, same day.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And it's just obviously not too windy a day, and there's lots of Red Arrows display pictures, aren't there? But here's an interesting picture. Tell me about this one.
That one. Well, it was a special commemorative for the Red Arrows, and the other famous European teams are over here. So their information with the leaders of the other teams.
Okay, so that's quite quite a rare picture, I would say.
I think it was the first time it had happened. It might well be the last time. But yes, that's what it was.
And just to prove that Fast and Furious doesn't always win the prize, some of those big planes that are going slightly slower, this is a nice picture of an Airbus. But look, you stayed with it, and then you got a very different picture as it broke off in the ascent to the right. That's nice.
Yes, it was Fairford again, and that was a very early Airbus. Oh, this is a C-27J, Italian Air Force. Another nice plane, decent shot.
And I hate to keep harping on about the same thing, but light, light and light. That is what photography is about. So that's what aviation photography is around. Look at these tail fin pictures here. Beautiful evening light on that one on the right.
Yes, now the left is a Starfighter at RAF Green and Common.
Really? The Starfighter.
And the other one is a Canberra, and that's at RAF Cosford.
Okay. Lenses?
That's a good question.
Well, moving on.
I know the Starfighter was a 17mm, but that's about all I can remember.
Oh, and here's a shot that just proves that point again. Light, light, light. Look at it. It's such a simple shot. It really is, but it's just the light that makes it. Tell us about this.
That's the only flying Blenheim in the world.
Is it?
After another rebuild, because the first one crashed. And that's to flying over Throckmorton Airfield, which was in chaos at the time as the traffic queues were enormous, and if I remember rightly, it took us about 4 hours just to get through to the gate. Well, in fact, we ended up parked in what appeared to be a chicken farm, and the reason why the Vulcan was coming to make one of its last displays, and it just caused complete and utter chaos in the whole area.
Okay, well, talking of the Vulcan, let's have a picture of one. Tell us about this.
This is at RAF Benson. Now, it was supposed to be RAF Benson Air Fete, but the air show was better than some of the larger displays I'd been to. And it was a great day. There was a lot of nice planes on show, including the Royal Flight, which was all on display.
Okay, so what was this taken on?
It was a Nikon picture. Let me have a look.
91.
I believe it was an 801S.
Okay, yeah. And black and white. Have you converted that to black and white?
I've converted it. It's actually it's a Kodachrome shot. I do have it in colour, but I like the black and white version.
Okay. Well, talking about film stock and historic pictures, look at 72 and social documentary pictures as well as the aeroplanes, and I like that. It probably wouldn't have looked quite the same at the time, but it does now, looking back. This, what film stock was this?
Kodachrome.
Kodachrome again, and those are Lightnings?
Yes, and they were the Nikon.
Okay.
The first Nikon.
Okay, and to have those pilots, soaking up the sun in the foreground. And look at this one. This is the Goodyear blimp. But look, it's the people around, and that saturated Kodachrome colour. It's got a particular look all of its own, hasn't it, Kodachrome?
It has. Nikon again.
But it's just that kind of look, that nostalgia, the people, what they're wearing, their haircuts, the saturated colour, it just makes such a beautiful picture. And this is a beautiful picture too. I really like this. Tell us about this.
Well, it's a Stratofortress, of course. It's RAF Fairford. If I remember rightly, it was quite a hot day as well. It would be a Nikon picture, but I cannot remember.
No.
It might have been the 80 to 400 actually.
But there's a big zoom on this, isn't there?
Yes.
On film stock?
I believe it's Fuji 100.
Okay, and it's, you can see that aviation fuel leaving trails of nastiness really across that sky, but it is a beautiful picture. And not forgetting, of course, the camera does tilt up into portrait mode, and so we've got a couple of uprights from displays, and they suit these pictures well, particularly with the trailing smoke. What have we got here?
F-16s. These were actually taken the same day as the Red Arrows pictures.
Okay, yeah.
And Nikon again, 800. Not certain of the lens, to be honest. I can't remember after all these years, but yeah, it was a nice display.
I like this one. Wing walkers, bright wing walkers, and look at that orange against that blue sky. Where was this? What was it taken?
RAF Cosford. Nikon picture again. I think that was the 70 to 200. I probably did have a converter on it, but yeah, it was a lovely day.
Well, she looks like she's enjoying herself up there on the wing, so we've all had a good day, obviously. And on to a First World War picture. This is obviously a reenactment. I like the crop on that was moving the aircraft from left to right and sort of, accentuating that. Do you know what we're looking at there?
Well, it's an SE5 in the Yonkers, RAF Cosford Air Show, Nikon again. I believe that might have been an 80-400.
Okay, at the 400 end.
Yeah, yes, because they did appear quite small, actually.
Yeah.
But yes.
That'd have been F4, was it, that lens?
5.6 at the long end.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a nice picture, like
Yeah.
that. Now, this is an interesting picture. I've seen this picture before. I think this is at Hackney Green.
Hackney Green.
And quite recently, last summer, a silver Mustang flew over my house at about 200 feet and gave a lovely display and was fabulous. And I asked Paul if he knew about it, and he said, "I don't just know about it, I photographed it, and this is it."
This is it before the paint was changed.
Yeah, so it's changed to the silver now.
Yes, it's been repainted. I think it might have a new owner. I don't know. But it visited Hackney one Sunday afternoon, quite late one Sunday afternoon. So that's a Fuji with the 50-140-2.8.
Oh, another display picture. I like that one. Again, I like the way that you've cropped that. Okay, moving the aircraft off to the left and smoke going everywhere on that.
Well, that's Fuji again, the 100-400. It's RAF Cosford.
Yeah.
But there is something about that picture which doesn't really show up when you look at it.
Go on.
It's actually a large-scale flying model.
Oh, is it? It's not a real plane?
Remote, no.
Oh, it's a remote control.
Yeah, remote control.
Well, there you go. You see, if you're into aviation photography, if you can't get to the displays, maybe there's some model clubs or something around, and you can still have a go at it. I can see now. This is one of the models as well, isn't it?
It is.
I like that picture. That's a nice
triplane.
Yeah, but it's just the fact that he's just pushing it along like that. Lovely.
Yeah, very good display.
And of course, sometimes you like the pictures because they're nice pictures because of the technical ability, but sometimes you like the pictures just because the plane is slightly more unusual. And I think that's the case here.
Yes, it's a Waco, which was coming into Hackney Green for one of its small air shows it holds over the weekend. That was 2017.
Okay, you know anything about these planes?
There's not many about.
You know that.
And it might well be the only one in this country. I don't know. But
Do you know where it's from or what country? Or?
No, I don't. I couldn't find any more about it.
All right, well, if you know, please leave us a comment if you know anything about this particular plane. Now, onto this shot. What have we got? A Hurricane. I mean, it's 1972, so we're on film.
We're on film. We're on Kodachrome 2. Nikon picture, Nikomat. And it's RAF up at Hayford, and it was one of the NATO Open days. Some of the best displays I've ever been to were up at Hayford.
And is this from the same display?
No. This is
a Hurricane?
No, it's a Spitfire.
Oh, it's a Spitfire. Sorry, aviation enthusiast. I should know my. But I can't see the wing properly because it's a little bit. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
It's Slipe Airfield, and it's a F6, and it's an 80-400 Nikon.
F6. What? And film stock? Was it a colour picture you converted, or was
it's
it
colour? I think that was Velvia 50 again, if I remember rightly.
Okay, but what I particularly like about it is how you've got it looking. I'm taking it this isn't an air-to-air shot.
No.
You must have been quite low and you've just got the sky.
I was right at the side of the runway. So, yes.
Don't tell the air traffic controllers.
It was starting to go quite dark, actually.
Okay. Well, talking about runways, we're going to move on to this now. This is an interesting one. The Vampire. Tell us about this.
The Vampire was visiting Hackney Green in 2017.
And we don't get jets really at Hackney Green.
No, that's true.
And we know why.
Because shortly after, as he taxied out and took off, he basically destroyed a part of the runway. if you search on YouTube Vampire runway destruction at Hackney Green, you'll see the video of this taking off, and you'll see the jet engines as it
as it rotates to go up, blowing pieces of tarmac.
Great loads of tarmac.
Lumps of tarmac into the air behind it and completely destroying the runway. I mean, you know, in fact, if I can find that video, I'll leave a link in the description for you to have a look. But I can remember that really well, and it's great that you've got the start up there, because that's what it will forever be known as at Halfpenny Green.
That's true.
Going on to my old thing again about light. Look at that. That's just a picture created with magnificent light.
Yes, that's Sleip Airfield again, late Mark Spitfire. Mid-afternoon.
And that's all like chromed, is it? So sort of.
Yes, it's a beautiful colour scheme. Silver with a red flash along the side. It was very nice. But yes,
but it's the lighting, isn't it? I mean, you've captured that low evening lighting, and that's really, and that high contrast, that's what's made the picture pop. Oh, I like that. That's well observed. Look at that. You're talking about popping. That blue of that Spitfire again.
Yeah, PR Spitfire. Yeah, that is Campbell. Nikon picture.
But what I really like about it is the fact that you've got those sort of muted colours all around and that little band of green at the bottom, but then this striking electric blue right diagonally across the pictures. Nice two guys there, you know, just chatting, chatting away.
Yeah. Lovely, yeah.
And that's done on a long lens, and the way that we know that's done on a long lens is the straightness of the verticals of those slats behind. If you were any closer with anything less than maybe 100mm, they would have some foreshortening on them.
I'm pretty certain that's 400mm.
And talking about wide lenses, you've used one really well here. This is it Tiger Moth?
Tiger Moth.
Yeah, look at that. Into the sun, again, reflections. It's all about light.
17mm lens, I remember that.
Nice. Yeah. Like it. And we can't have some aviation pictures without a helicopter. And, you know, when it comes to classic helicopters, the Huey, I can almost hear the ride of the Valkyrie playing in the background from that film. What was the film? Apocalypse Now, of course, yes. And this Huey, where was that?
That's Gosford.
Yeah.
Fuji 100 to 400 zoom.
And it's a big helicopter, isn't it?
It's fair size, yeah, it is. Yeah.
And that you know, that classic boxy shape that it has, I think you've captured that really well there.
Yeah.
And from the historic to the here and now, I like this. Is that Eurofighter? Is that?
It is, yeah.
Typhoon there.
Typhoon,
and that's just beautiful, isn't it?
Nikon picture.
It's really nice. That's just a colour picture. You've done nothing to that in terms of, you know, it's just a very grey day.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And you've just got those afterburners.
It's Fuji 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so so this is a film image.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Didn't realise that.
Yeah. Going back a bit.
And look at that. That's all about colour again, isn't it? That's just about taking, you know, a relatively ordinary picture, but I mean, it's just got that beautiful retro look. This is Kodachrome.
No, actually, this is Fuji multi-speed.
Multi-speed?
A film they brought out at the time. You could rate it, if I remember rightly, either 100 to 1,000, and you just ticked the ASA, whichever it was you've used, on the cassette. And
the lab altered the depth
and they
time.
Processed it to suit. It was a great film.
So like Ilford had a multi-grade paper, which you could have as any grade of paper contrast wise. There was even multi-ISO film.
Yes,
or ASA as we called it in those days.
Yeah, it was good. And that's a Douglas Invader at Campbell. But it used to give you beautiful skies, that film had.
It certainly did. I really like the colours on that. Okay, I like that. That's light again. I keep banging on about it, but that is a picture made by light. What we're looking at?
Well, that's an Aviation that was there for what's called Project Propeller at Halfpenny Green, where there's a gathering of the veterans of World War II. And that's with the Sony RX-10-4.
Okay, and that's at the 600mm then?
I believe it was about halfway.
Yeah.
I just stood just the other side of the taxiway to get that. And it was one of the first pictures I tried with it, actually.
And again, look at that. I love these close-up shots, and I love the way that you do most of them at the end of the day, I've noticed.
Well, that actually is early morning.
Oh.
That's take the green.
Well, early morning, end of the day.
Yeah.
It's low light.
I can
isn't it?
get there. I can get from home there easy in 10 minutes, so I start off early.
And that's another one.
That's a Harvard.
Okay, yeah, and again,
It's
early morning light.
Early morning lights.
Yeah, I
both
mean,
Nikon pictures.
That really is nice. I like that. Looking at those close-ups. I love the colour on that. What on earth is happening with the colour on that?
That's a repeat.
Yeah.
Halfpenny green. Now that was taken with a D7000, if I remember rightly, but it was with the 18-140 zoom. It had just come out, and it was supposed to be very good, so I bought one. And
wow!
It was a brilliant lens.
That
it really was.
That is like a Zeiss lens, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just absolutely astonishing the way. Well, what it's done with the colour there.
It was very good with colour, and it was nice and contrasty. Very good lens. Actually.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to your favourite picture.
Fairy Swordfish over RAF Abingdon.
Wow.
This is going back a long while.
I don't care how long it's going back. I mean, look at that. That's just a stunning picture. I would have that on the wall. I mean, I just love the colours. What have we captured that on?
Well, 40mm lens, would you believe, and Kodachrome.
Kodachrome, yeah. Do you know the ones I've been drawn to have been the Kodachromes?
Yeah, Kodachrome was an excellent film, and yes,
but it suits aviation, and something the way that it shows skies in particular.
That's true. Bit slow, but
what's it rated?
25.
Oh, 25. ISO's 25. Yeah. So in the digital world, that is very. In fact, most digitals don't go to that.
I know, it's true. We are spoilt now. We take everything, whatever we feel like, basically, don't we?
But I love this picture. It has the amazing. In fact, I might even ask for a print of this. I might have this up in the office. I really like it. But it's not my favourite picture of yours.
No.
Get ready for my favourite picture from your gallery today. And of course, it's going to be about light.
Yes.
And it's this. Wow! Oh my gosh! This is one of my most favourite aviation pictures I've ever seen. The light on this picture, it looks as though it was created by a Hollywood set. I mean, gosh, you're going to have to tell me about this. This is film stock.
No.
No! How can that last one have been film stock?
This is a D7000 picture.
A Nikon D7000.
And it's again with the 18-140. That is the Harrier prototype, the P1127.
When did you take this?
Oh, 2010 maybe. It's been quite a few years.
And this is just evening light then? It's just created by...
Well, it's late afternoon light.
Yeah, look at that. Just people, just observe how beautifully lit this is. Just with a natural evening light, and that's just stunning. I love it. I wish I'd have taken that picture. Why isn't that picture mine? I mean, there's nobody in it. The aeroplane isn't flying. It's not action packed. There's no afterburners. You don't need to, massive zooms. And yet, my favourite picture from Paul's gallery is just really well observed with beautiful lighting. I love this picture.
I'm glad you do.
Thank you, Paul, for showing us these images. I've really enjoyed going through them. And if you want to get into aviation photography, look, yes, you can buy very expensive kit and lenses, but by the same token, you can go out with a fairly modest camera and take a picture like this. So if you're into photography and you're into planes and aviation, I would say marry them up together, go out there, fuse them together and produce stuff like this. You're going to love it. Hey, I hope you enjoyed viewing that gallery of Paul's aviation photographs from over the years. I certainly did. As I mentioned earlier in the video, if you'd like to see Paul and I out and about at Halfpenny Green Airport testing some lenses, then click on this video here. And if you'd like to see us trying Paul's new Sony camera out, which I was amazed wasn't a Nikon after all those years, then click on this link here.